Campbell High School's International Baccalaureate program sounds intriguing, but is it a good fit for my student? To IB or not to IB? That is the question for our discussion on this edition of The Inside Scoop. Hello, welcome back to another episode of The Inside Scoop. I'm David Owen. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, and share this podcast with a friend if you find it helpful. Cobb School's magnet programs offer a wide variety from which to choose, and one of those options is the International Baccalaureate program at Campbell High School. Here to tell us more about it is the program's coordinator, Lisha Wood. Lisha, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
So briefly, let's just start off with who you are, and let's just go there. Tell us a little bit about Lisha Wood.
All right, so I'm actually a product of Cobb County School District.
Oh, cool.
Yep, and I've been teaching and serving as an administrator for over 24 years.
Okay.
I was actually tapped by my predecessor to take this role. He is still with us in the program as an English teacher, and he was excited to go back to the classroom, and he asked me to take the position of IB coordinator, which is I'll be beginning my fourth year now.
Now, that prior coordinator was Dan Pennick, is that right?
Exactly.
Okay, and my guess is his passion for the students was such that he just wanted back in where the action is, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. He wanted to be back in the classroom teaching IB English and Theory of Knowledge, which is where he is now.
For him to reach out and have you become the IB coordinator is a great compliment because he was such a good one himself. So I think that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the program itself, IB, International Baccalaureate. This wasn't something that was known when I was growing up. Of course, that was back in the 1900s, but the IB program has kind of evolved through the years. Tell us what that is and how it applies to the program at Campbell.
Sure. So IB stands for International Baccalaureate. In the late 60s, diplomats around the world were trying to find a consistent framework for education for their students, no matter where they were.
Okay.
And the International Baccalaureate was developed so that they could do just that. Eventually, they saw such benefit and success for those students that the IBO was developed and decided to have an authentication process so that schools around the globe could also offer the IB diploma program.
So you said IBO. Is that what is that?
International Baccalaureate Organization.
Organization. Okay.
Yeah.
I should have assumed. Okay. Sorry.
No problem. In 1997, Campbell was established as not only an IB World School, but also the first magnet that was an academic-based magnet in Cobb County School District.
Okay. All right. And as we said in the open, there are lots of magnet programs that the viewers can choose from for their families. And one of them is the program up at North Cobb that also has the word international in it. Tell us a little bit about how your program and how theirs are similar and different. I'll use teacher terminology. Compare and contrast, if you will.
As a former English teacher, I appreciate that. We are actually internationally based in our global mindedness as programs.
Okay.
What makes the International Baccalaureate program different at Campbell High School is that it is authenticated by an outside organization, the IBO.
Okay.
Also, it's an established curriculum, so students starting their junior year take IB curriculum that is the same as students taking it around the world. So if they're in Canada, Brazil, Singapore, Japan, they're all taking the same curriculum. We are a little different too in that, North Cobb does a great job offering more languages than we do.
Okay.
However, with IB, the expectation is that students delve into one language and master it by the end of the graduation by the end of their high school career.
Yeah. So that's an interesting distinction. And so if I could take that and run with it a little bit, if a student from here in your IB program left at the end of their junior year, God forbid, don't do that, and went somewhere overseas, they could potentially find an IB program that would let them pick up right where they left off. Is that the gist of it?
Absolutely. While some schools do have the option to offer different IB subjects. So, for example, we may have art and philosophy and economics, and another IB school in Singapore may not offer one of those 6 subjects. There could be some adjustment that they would have to make, but the curriculum and the rigor would be the same.
Okay. All right. So they would be right up there with the diplomats' kids, the ambassadors' kids, and all that. A very, very elite sounding program.
It is.
So your program being at Campbell, you've got the general ed students as well. Is there a magnet wing, or is it all kind of interconnected? How does a day in the life of an IB student look at Campbell?
That's a great question, and one that we get a lot. So all of the magnet programs in the district are a part of the whole school. So we have Campbell students and we have Campbell IB students. There is not a separate wing for those students. They are on the same bell schedule. They participate in all the same activities, sports, clubs, performing arts, everything. Like yes, wow. We have, the quarterback on the football team is an IB student. So they work with all students that are in there. They may be taking AP World History classes with other AP honor students that are not in the IB program. One distinction, though, is once they enter into specific IB or magnet level classes, they have a dedicated staff that works with them and will be a part of their matriculation through the program. So we have dedicated certified IB staff that start teaching them their junior and senior year, as well as they may teach them in their pre-IB classes their freshman and sophomore year. That is something that's distinct and unique to the program only. However, they are integrated into the entire school. Okay.
All right. So they are definitely a part of the student body.
Absolutely.
And I would presume you probably generated a lot of leaders in the student body from your program, right?
Absolutely, yes. We have, whether it's SGA president or, like I said, we've had drum majors, we've had quarterbacks and captains of the basketball team, leaders of Habitat for Humanity. So our students are involved across the entire community. They're also, what's awesome, is a part of the Smyrna community. So we have them on the Smyrna Youth Council, and we have them working beyond the school, the four walls of the school.
And that probably is just more bonus information on the resume, so to speak, when you're applying at these various universities and so forth.
Absolutely.
So the IB program, being internationally focused, is there do universities and colleges look at it differently?
They actually do. So there is one box to check whenever you're applying to universities, and it will ask you the question, are you an International Baccalaureate Diploma Program candidate? And that is the only question that they ask on all applications. And so you get to check that box if you're in the program.
That's kind of a nice little perk.
It is. Yes, it is. It is viewed as the international standard for advanced preparation for colleges, because it was developed as something to allow the diplomats' children to move all over the world and have the same rigorous education. Universities know that. They recognize it. That's why our acceptance rates tend to be higher with that distinction on the application.
And we already have high rigor across the board in Cobb, and so you check that box and it's even higher.
Yeah, exactly. All the magnet
awesome.
Programs are amazing and prepare students for competitive application processes. So this is a little leg up for some of them as well. Okay.
So I know that in some magnet programs you have, I guess, tracks or areas of focus. I'm still unclear about what you would call them, but students can kind of choose the direction they're going within the program. Is there anything along those lines that you could tell us more about?
That's a great question. So they're pre-IB years, freshman, sophomore year. They have electives that they can take. Typically, our students take elevated electives like AP Psychology, AP European History. They may take some fine arts. Once they're in the program, their junior year, they begin their 2-year study. So there are 6 subjects that they study: math, science, English, history, a 6th subject, and a world language. Their choices come into play with the 6th subject. We have a 4-year dedicated visual arts program, so some students want to pursue that and continue with IB art. If they're business-minded or math students, they may choose economics, and then some students want to know really about how we think, and they pursue philosophy. And then they also have a choice with math. They can do a higher level study and go if they're more math minded, or they could stay standard level. And then they also have a choice to take chemistry, biology, or physics, depending again where their science aspirations lie.
Okay, and you kind of alluded to this, but how does the IB course selection relate to the AP offerings within Campbell?
Yeah, so we get that question a lot, and we think of it more as parallel.
Okay.
So AP classes and IB classes, they both offer a 1.0 quality point on your GPA. They both have exams that are external where students can earn extra college credits or advanced placement.
Okay.
We think of AP, excuse me, we think of AP as more of like an a la carte. Students tend to lean into what they're already comfortable with or what they may already be very good at studying. IB expects students to take risk. Part of the IB learner profile is about being good at communicating and thinking, but also branching out. It's a broad-based liberal arts program. So they want students to be good at everything. So if they are math-minded, science-minded, they're also going to do 2 years of English and history. They're going to learn how to write and speak and communicate about their math and science. If they are less math and science-minded, we still expect them to take that so that when they leave the program and they go to a competitive university, they can pivot at any point. They're going to get there and they're going to be able to write a paper really quickly, and they're going to be able to communicate and know what they want to pursue because they've studied all of these areas and become really good at them.
They've kind of touched on everything that they could possibly touch on, and that gives them, I guess, more direction in the college years.
Absolutely. And allows them to pivot. I don't want to say on air how many times I changed my major in college, but it does allow them to pivot. They may come in thinking they want to be one thing, and when they get to college or go through the program, they decide something else. And so it allows them to pivot.
Well, this is going on your permanent record, so yeah.
Okay, well, fair.
So the graduates, the students that are in the program now, where would we expect to see them end up in life?
Well, if you live in Smyrna, it could be one of your doctors, or we have a dentist down the street that graduated from the program not long ago. Okay. I will say each year I'm more impressed with the graduates, what they do and where they go. Currently, our class of 2023 was amazing. We had a student who is in a specialized program at Princeton, where his first year of college is actually going to be in Bolivia, where he is not only fluent in Spanish, but he's able to study in Bolivia and help out communities there.
Wow.
We have a couple who went to West Point last year. We have a young lady who is at Johns Hopkins studying biochemistry, hoping to cure a disease that affected her family. And we also have Duke. We have really good acceptance rates to UGA, close to 100% every year get into UGA. Georgia Tech is a little less, but it's more in the 60s to 75% range. So you're going to see them everywhere. Oh, yeah.
Goodness gracious. Well, I think the bottom line is your graduates go on to great levels of success in life. So how can parents find out more about the program and possibly if they deem this a good fit for their student, how could they begin that application process?
Oh, that's great. So IB or not IB, right? That is the question.
Back to that bad line, sorry.
So October 1st, the portal will open on Cobb County's Magnet webpage. Okay. They can go there and begin their application. They have 2 months to complete the application. So we encourage them to start it, write their essays, edit their essays, and they can come and go. There is a hard deadline of December 1st, though, so they have to submit the application for any of the academic magnets by then. That webpage also has all of our open house information. The best thing we can say is go to our open houses. Come and visit the school, talk to your neighbors, talk to your people at your church or your community centers about magnet programs and find out what their experience was. Okay.
And one of the ways that they could discern or help discern whether their student would be a good fit for the IB at Campbell is by looking for what general characteristics, who would be the ideal candidate for your program?
So IB Learner Profile is, again, about students who are inquiry-based, they're creative, they're thinkers, they're compassionate. It's really about both sides of the brain, left brain, right brain. So we want our scientifically minded students and our writers and our performers. It is a place where students who are maybe taking AC classes or high school level classes, and they're doing really well in those. They're students who have a thirst for knowledge. And the mission of IB is to make the world a better place through learning about others' perspectives.
Okay.
So oftentimes we have students come and say, I love history, but I also love science. And IB's perfect for you because you're going to get to do all of those things.
Yeah, and rarely are things in this world one or the other. Is usually intertwined, right? That's the reality of life.
Absolutely. And that's what IB strives to do, is have students who can not just focus on one or two subjects, but leave the program and go into the world and do good things with all subject areas and feel confident about that.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and sharing this about your IB program at Campbell. I think it's worth noting also, this is not a program for Campbell students. It's a Cobb-wide program at Campbell, and that's a distinction that I think a lot of people might overlook. So again, being a magnet program, they're able to catch a bus at the local shopping center and come in through the bus service. So listeners, if this is something that you think that your student is a good candidate for, but you live on the other end of the county, go back to that podcast with Andrew Kutcher and listen to that, because he discusses the transportation side of that, which is an option for magnet students. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing. This has been a phenomenal experience. Every one of these magnet programs is just a little bit different. So getting to hear how yours is different from these others is huge and helpful to parents and students. So
thank you,
thanks.
David.
Thanks
Thank you for
that.
having me. I appreciate it. And yes, we just want the students to apply.
Well, we'll make sure to put the links in the show notes, and you can find these show notes by visiting the Cobb District homepage at www.cobbk12.org and click on the podcast icon up by the search window at the top of the page, or on mobile, it's at the very, very bottom for some reason. That's not a passive-aggressive thing or anything. Anyway, if this podcast was helpful to you, please give us a like and a review. We love hearing from you, and don't forget to share it with a friend also. Thank you for tuning in to The Inside Scoop, a podcast produced by the Cobb County School District.